Welcome back to Everything Goes. Today I'm in the studio with my man E.
Just back with another episode.
Got my man John.
We back, baby. Second week, we back with the consistency, Amy.
Uh-huh. And we're gonna jump right into it with our new segment, MOTD, which stands for Moment of the Day. So I just want you guys to talk to me about what was your moment of the day, whether it was a player, a game. I just want to know. We're gonna start with Ian.
My moment of the day is a negative moment. Um, the Broncos gave the game away, and they let Daniel Jones walk him down to field goal range, and I think the Colts kicker, they said he had 9 career field goals. Now he never missed a field goal before, but I think his longest career field goal before today was 59 yards. And I think they said his longest in college was like 53. He kicked or attempted a 60-yard field goal. He missed wide right, but the Broncos special teams unit, hit the center over the head, so it cost them 15 yards, and they lost the game. Bo Nix 1-1 now, and I didn't get paid. Where the Broncos would have had a chance to go into next week 2-0. Tied for leading the division, and now they're going to be, they are 1-1, and like I said, I'm not paid, so that's my moment of the day because I should have been paid. Simple.
We're gonna move on to John. What was your moment of the day?
So my moment of the day. So I wanted to do two. It was a couple joints, right? So Ian went a moment in like a game wide sense. My joint is a play. And the play was Tinsley, the boy Tinsley on the Browns. He caught the one-hand joint touchdown. But the reason why it was the moment of the day for me too is because simultaneously they threw a dildo on the field as he caught the teddy joint. So he caught the joint, and this is somebody. This is a new player, so he young. So in the preseason, just like the boy Isaac Tesla, he was going crazy with his catches. Like Isaac Tesla was still in the spotlight as far as spectacular catches, but he was going kind of crazy too. So he caught the one-handed joint. He leaned back, got his toe down in the joint too. So that was my moment of the day, plus the special guest dildo appearance.
So for me, my moment of the day, I kind of went in not that game specifically, but I went a game for this week. My moment of the day was the Cowboys and the Giants, specifically for a few reasons. I had a few takeaways from that game. One, it was a great game. It was back and forth action. The Giants started out on top. What was they up? 13-0, 10-0. Seemed like they was about to walk away with the game. Cowboys jumped right back into it. And then in the fourth quarter, you had, 3 lead changes. The game ended up going to overtime, go all the way down to the wire. It was a great game. But my first takeaway from that game is Malik Neighbors is exactly who we think he is. Even though he's shown that last year, you do want to see it from obviously an elite wide receiver in their second year. You want to see the consistency. So we only had a 1-year sample size, but now these first 2 weeks, we see that he is exactly who we think he is. I've also learned that Russ still got some left in the tank because looking at his game last week compared to this week, it's 2 completely different games. So I definitely want to acknowledge that. Yes. While watching this game, it also solidified for me that their defensive line is elite and their defensive line is ready to go. They signed a bunch of guys in free agency. They got a bunch of draft picks that's finally developed and they're ready to go. Their defensive line is going to create problems for any offensive line moving forward. That's how I look at it. And now on the Cowboys side of things, I think the Cowboys have shown within these 2 weeks that they have a good coach. Hiring Brian Schottenheimer in-house wasn't actually a bad idea as much as people thought originally. He seemed like he got them guys ready to play, and he seemed like the culture is different than what it was in the previous 2 years. Because if you look at it, if they go down 13-0 2 years ago with Dak fully healthy and Mike McCarthy coaching, they're going to lose that game. It's going to be interception after interception. If it's not interception after interception, it's going to be the secondary not holding up. It's going to be bounds away, and the team is going to be arguing on the sideline. We did not see none of that in the game today.
It was still bombs away.
Well, yeah, that part, because Russ did his thing. But I'm talking about as far as team togetherness, that was the quality we definitely wanted to see. And I felt as though everybody trusted everybody. It was not one point in time in that game where they was looking at each other on the sideline sideways. And I felt like that's something we haven't seen from the Cowboys in a long time. And so that's why that game was my moment of the day.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate any and all support. Thank you.
And so moving on to our next segment, Catch or Pass. We're going to start with question number 1. This for Ian Mans, Jay Herbo. You mean, has Justin Herbert proved himself as a top quarterback in the NFL?
No. I'm not catching it.
You're not catching it? Somebody's not catching it. That's your man. So now I got to know.
I mean, you didn't ask if I like his ability as a quarterback. You asked if he's proven himself as a top quarterback. I think that top quarterbacks in today's league either have made the Super Bowl or they have an MVP to show for it. Last year, Josh Allen was the only exception, and he made the AFC Championship game and lost to Mahomes, who, I mean, is the greatest that we've seen. So, but now he has an MVP as well to show for it. So, Joe Burrow has been to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl MVP. Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh. That's top quarterbacks to me. If you want to throw Stafford in there, you can, because he got he's been to the Super Bowl and he can still produce and perform at an elite level. But after that, the rest of those guys, like I said, you can go top 10, but top 10 was top 10 at a point in time by default because it's only 5-6 elite quarterbacks. Like he hasn't proven himself to be anything besides an immense talent, and you got to convert that to wins, especially through adversity, before you can be considered a top quarterback to me. So that's why I'm not catching this train yet.
Gotcha. John, what about you?
Keep my short and sweet. Hell no. You got to show me. The league quarterbacks perform in the playoffs. So I'm passing.
Okay. Well, I'll keep my assurance. I had some notes here because I thought I was going to get different answers, but it seemed like we all. Man, I'm not catching this train. I mean, you can perform all you want in the regular season and put up godly numbers, but when it comes to the postseason, I need you to perform. I need you to go out there and show us what you showed us in the regular season and the postseason. You can't go out and repeatedly have your worst game of the season and the biggest game of the season. So for that reason, you haven't arrived as a top quarterback for me.
And I'm gonna respond because last year he had a good season, then obviously they didn't get the playoffs. It's like I said to y'all, after literally one game last week, then like I said to y'all, the amount of people that's ready to cry, oh, he's top 5. This is why he's top 5. This is why he's the protege. Oh, come on, bro. Like it's one game.
Moving on to question 2, Catch or Pass. The AFC is as wide open as it's ever been since the Mahomes KC era.
John's short answer to the last question was hell no. My answer to this question is hell yeah.
Okay.
That shit free smoke.
What about you, John?
I'm gonna disagree. Surprisingly, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna catch. It's not wide open. I don't think moving forward because I believe just like I talked about Herbert in the last segment as far as showing in the playoffs until somebody, because everybody can have an excellent regular season, beat Mahomes in a regular season. Mahomes, we can look at the Chiefs and be like, hey, like they don't look the same. But when it comes to the playoffs and you gotta stand across the field for Patrick Mahomes and perform, we haven't seen that done yet. That's why I don't think that it's wide open because the Bills, the Chargers, the Ravens, et cetera, like they teams can look much better than Mahomes-led team. But when it comes down to beating him, we just haven't seen it on a consistent basis for me to say it's wide open yet. So I'm
gonna counter that. Like Dan didn't go yet, but my only response to that would be thus far we haven't seen lackluster Chiefs performances during the regular season. Like they have been not what we expect from Mahomes. They might not be dominating guys in the regular season anymore, but they still haven't looked like shit yet in the regular season. Right now, not that they look like shit, but this is Mahomes' first first time losing 3 consecutive games in his career. This is the first time she started 0-2. So, we always look at divisional games as a little bit harder to win. Let's say he goes split with Denver. We don't think that he's going to split with who's the last team in the division, the Raiders. Like he'll probably beat the Raiders twice. But if he split with Denver, he split with the Chargers, they end up in a situation where they could either be the 3rd seed in a division somehow, which obviously that's an early prediction, but it can't be like last year we barely winning games, we winning by 1 possession. because that one possession could turn the other way. Those could turn into L's, and like we seeing year by year that, not to say Mahomes is not enough, but just saying Mahomes and Andy Reid go figure it out. That's not Travis Kelce is not 28 no more. This is not going to be a recipe for success. So y'all got to get to the playoffs. If y'all get in as a 6 or 7 seed and y'all got to play 4 games to get to the championship instead of only playing 2, it might be a different result. It's a different wear and tear on that. So that's my only rebuttal to that.
Okay, so before I respond to what both of you guys saying, I'm gonna answer the question. So I'm gonna catch this train. I do think the AFC is as wide open as it's ever been, and I'm gonna piggyback off of what Ian was saying. You look back to Minnesota a few years ago. Obviously, Mahomes is better than who's over there, Kirk Cousins and Minnesota. Yeah, obviously Mahomes is better than them. But you look at Minnesota, the one year where they went 12-4 and they won all them one-score games, and then the very following year they was like 2-7 in one-score games, back-to-back years. So it's hard to win all in one-score games in consecutive years, and we see it right now. They starting off the year in one-score games, 0-2, as to last year they would be 2-0 in this situation. So I do think the AFC is more wide open for that reason, because like Ian said, the Chiefs might end up in a situation where they don't have home field advantage, even though we have seen them get to a Super Bowl without home field advantage. One year Buffalo had it, and the one year the Ravens had it. But I also, and for that reason, I do want to kind of point out what John is saying. We haven't seen nobody do it in the postseason outside of Joe, and with Joe just going down this year. But you do got guys like Jay Herbert and the Chargers team that's looking legit. And I don't know why you made that face, John, because honestly, if he's what y'all say he is, he should be a contender this year. There's no reason why he should not be a contender this year.
That's a part of my answer, though, because he shit the bed in the playoffs twice. So, yeah, he can be nice to be a contender, but he has to go out and prove that he can actually put a good game tape in the playoffs.
I hear exactly what you're saying, and what I'm saying is based off of what I'm seeing from KC this year. I think if any year is the year that anybody can get them, this is going to be the year. From what I've seen from the first 2 weeks,
and his team is better now than when he shit the bed prior to. He got better weapons around him. He's more seasoned. His defense is better, and his coach is better. Like last year shouldn't have been different than 2 years ago with Trevor Lawrence.
He do got better weapons because you mentioned you got Ladd, the second year Ladd McConkey. Bring back Mike Evans because he didn't have both of them at the same time. Now you got both of them at the same time. You bring in a rookie running back who's explosive, so he definitely do got better weapons. You got a second year with Jim Harbaugh in this system, understanding what it's like to have a winning coach, and obviously he's coaching up that defense. That defense has been better since day one, since he stepped foot in the door.
Okay.
So.
I don't think they scheduled that hard throughout the year either. Like they got some Jones where it's gonna be like it's kind of set up for them to be okay.
Yeah. Not saying that they the top guys that knock off KC. I'm just saying that's a team that we haven't seen or we haven't considered in the last few years. Right. Above KC. That's just all I want to point out. But so moving on to the next question of catch or pass. Injuries will once again derail the 49ers season.
I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna pass on derailing their season because I think so. I'll start with the quarterback. Y'all know, like y'all already know, I'm a fan of Brock Purdy, but I also think we've seen multiple quarterbacks be successful in Kyle Shanahan's system, like we just seen today. He went out there and threw for 270 and I believe 3 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, and they won a game today. So after him, you have Kittle being out. But they have other pass catchers in that system. You have C-Mac, assuming C-Mac stays, because we just talking about from right now who they have injured right now. C-Mac, healthy. Jawan Jennings had a great game today, good receiver. Ricky Pearsall, good receiver as well. And then you have the system. Years prior, you had injuries on both the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, but that hasn't plagued them on the defensive side of the ball yet. So I'm not ready to say it'll derail their season yet because you have 2 main guys that are hurt, Kittle and Brock. But at least from my opinion, I think Mac is a serviceable quarterback because he's shown that he can play good football with the right guidance and coaching, and he can keep them in games and go out there and win them a game or two while Brock is hurt. That's all you really need a backup to do. So,
gotcha. I'm gonna back that as well. I'm gonna say no. Injury is not gonna derail the season, but I'm gonna take a different route. Not because Mac Jones is serviceable, which he has shown that he's capable of filling into that system, but just because I don't think that their season was headed anywhere special. They might ended up winning their division. If not for injuries, if this is not a long-term thing. But outside of that, like we talked about earlier in the year, in terms of contenders versus pretenders, I don't think that they are a threat to the NFC. I think that Detroit showed this week that they are, like we ain't going nowhere. We figuring it out. We got to start from scratch in terms of what our identity is, but we still here. We got to look at what Green Bay looks like for 2 weeks now defensively, and is that two bad matchups, or a new coach and a second-year sophomore quarterback, or is that defense that legit at this point in time? But I just don't see. I don't see 49ers impact right now. The defense isn't as dominant as it used to be, and they don't have a clear number one receiver right now. Brock Purdy is serviceable as a starter, but even as a starter, I don't have faith in Brock Purdy. So I'm not going to say injuries would derail their season, because I don't think they was on the track to anywhere but a first or second round exit, if I'm being honest. So
I'm throwing smut on my man Brock name, yo.
That's like
I'm sorry, you speaking on Brock.
So I'm a also, just like you guys, I'm a pass on this train for a different reason. For a different reason than both of you guys. I think that the 49ers can possibly have some success just this year, only because I don't think the NFC is as deep as the AFC. That's just my personal.
Schedule light as hell.
And their schedule is not that hard. And then I think John said they only got guys out on the offensive end. And then by the time they get all the guys back on the offensive end, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and then they got DeMarcus Robinson, who's suspended right now. But by the time you get all them guys back, at worst case scenario, they'll be 2-2 or 3-1 with an easy schedule remaining. So I don't think this season will be derailed at all. So yeah, moving on to the fourth question of Catch or Pass. Despite being 2-0, you guys, Philadelphia Eagles, should be concerned moving forward.
We'll let my man take this.
Why keep gotta go first, man? Absolutely, we concerned. Like, we had this conversation last week. Adoree Jackson cannot play the cornerback position at the NFL level. We saw that last week. We saw that last week, and this week they was out there with 1.5 receivers. I think that this week my problem was more so with the scheme and the coverage defensively than it was a player not being able to do his job. We kind of got to get a little deeper into the season and see how to address that, really, because it's too early in the season for me to say, okay, Vic Fangio is being stubborn right now. He needs to implement more man coverages or whatever, because we don't know. But from what it looked like today, because we don't have the same personnel as we did last year, we cannot rely on that zone scheme, because this rookie might not have the same awareness as CJ Gardner-Johnson, or that whoever is playing opposite, whether that's Adoree or the other cuz, he might not be as smart as Quinyon was over there. Now Quinyon has to be Darius Slay. So it's like, defensively, obviously we still concerned. It wasn't anything. Our linebackers look good. They can play their ass off. Jalen Carter looked infiltrated into our defense, and it was definitely more of a stout in terms of playing the run today. But in terms of our pass attack, our pass defense on both ends, like our pass attack, Jalen threw for 100 yards, and we seen that, and that encounter, but the offense was kind of stagnant still. Saquon did his thing. But I think even as Philadelphia fans right now, like, we're not even necessarily satisfied with 88 rushing yards. Like, it looked like he worked hard for that. And so it's still reason for us to be concerned, even at 2-0 right now for me.
What about you, Josh?
I'm gonna catch this train. Very concerned. This episode is I got like 2-3 switch ups. Like last week, it's popping it. This week or the week leading up to that show, like my man Ian said, like it's so many ways that you can go about talking about the Eagles right now. And I hate to be that fan where it's like everything is up in smoke and flames and just a negative. Although we 2-0, but the team just today and last week, it wasn't satisfied wins. And truth be told, we didn't look good. Like, the defense is what everybody was concerned about. And going into the season, I'll be honest, I thought it would look better than it does. But, missing the personnel, like Ian said, the scheme in comparison to the personnel that you have to adjust. Like what we running and kind of how we looking out there is under the assumption that we still have the same defense as last year. And it can't work like that. You have to be able to adjust to what your players can do. And then word to what my man said, Dory Jackson cannot play NFL level quarterback. It's bad. And the Eagles, and then on offense, it's like I'm gonna say Saquon worked super hard for that 88 yards. I think he had 23 carries today, if I'm not mistaken. Every time he ran the ball, he was fighting and scratching to get all of his yards. Like nothing was easy. We weren't getting the push on the offensive line that we normally are accustomed to. And then the passing attack, and we keep going like this, even if we get in W's, it's gonna be the same thing in the beginning, I believe, of the 2023 season, where the main question was, what's wrong with the Eagles? It's the passing game. So I don't want to get too much into it, but we should definitely be concerned. Like it don't look good out there, man. I'm not gonna lie. It don't look good out there. The only positive I take from is it's good to see Jalen Carter at the top of his game after being suspended one game, not really missing a step. And our rookies look awesome. Jihad and Lakuba.
So I mean, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. I'm also catch the train just like you guys. I still got the same opinion as I had from the last show. It's hard to repeat. And I'm gonna just keep saying it. And I've still got questions about your secondary, like me and Ian both brought up in the last show. Your secondary has yet to show me that they can get to the level that they did last year. Even though last year they did start out, what was it, the first 3 or 4 weeks being in the bottom, and then out of nowhere they just put fire, and then the whole defense was just on lockdown. But I don't think it's gonna happen again this year. This year reminds me of you guys from 2 years ago, where y'all was stuttering along throughout the season. Y'all was winning games, but
and it was bombs away whole season.
When it really mattered, y'all just fell apart. Not saying that's going to happen again. I'm hoping that don't happen again, but that's what it's looking like. The offense is stagnant. Like y'all said, Saquon worked really hard for his, what was it, 81 yards? He worked 22 carries for 81 yards. He did have a touchdown with that one explosive run. But outside of that one explosive run, I don't remember seeing Saquon getting 10 yards here, 15 yards here, 12 yards here, how he usually do. Now, the one thing I do want to say about the passing game, Jalen only had, 15, 16 completions. I think 6 went to Devontae, 5 went to A.J. Brown, and then everybody else only had 1 catch. So that is the way you want to do it, but the yards was not there. It was, 32 yards and 26 yards, something like that. That's not what you want to have for your top guy. So like John just said, if it keep going like that, how it did this week and last week, it's going to be problems in the locker room. So, yeah.
We look like you said, we look like 2023 us defensively. Offensively, we don't even look like 2023 us. We look like Brian Tannehill Titans. Like that's the kind, like they are literally loading the box for us right now and saying that we are not going to let Saquon destroy us. We're gonna put 8-9 in the game, and even though y'all offensive line is amazing, it's only 5 of them on the line. If we got more on the defensive side than y'all got on the line, then we got an extra guy to go tackle Saquon, and then y'all got to beat us in the passing game. And it's not to say that we cannot move the ball, because yes, we still have A.J. Brown out there, which Ryan Tannehill did, and we got a better 2 in Smitty who can go make those big possession catches. But it's like we go get that big play, and then we 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, and we got to do something else on 4th down. Is like that's not going to. In 2023, it was bombs away, but we knew that on the offensive side, we had something for you. It don't look like that right now. Like 2023, we got to where we got to, and then we fell apart in the last 4 weeks. It's not even falling apart right now. We starting at 0 offensively, it feels like. So, it's definitely, like you said, definitely room for concern. But we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Season's still early. We'll see what happens. But yeah, moving on to the last question, catch your pass. We're gonna switch it up today. We got some boxing for you guys. After the fight this past weekend, Terrence Crawford is a top blank boxer of all time. I need you guys to fill in the blank for me.
He's the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT. But disclaimer to anybody that's watching, also to us in this call. I'm not a boxing connoisseur. Like my knowledge of basketball, football is much more extensive than boxing. The greatest boxer that I watched like live, my era, I guess, was Floyd. So like prior to this, my idea of greatness, like I said, like Floyd was kind of the standard. In the last couple years, I've, through questions, talking to Dan and a few other people, I got better understanding of boxing, and watching him do what he did to Spence and then come up another weight class and do it again. And, you did it at his weight and his kind of, fight. But you made it your fight. Like he came up there and wasn't like a big blow that was like, oh, like he controlled the fight. He beat Canelo by unanimous decision, and to be 3 times undisputed is crazy to me. So, with my limited boxing knowledge, and I can only think of 2-3 other guys to name that I've watched box. Yeah, bro, I can't definitively say it's nobody better than Bud for me, for what I've seen. Like, and I'm not a Bud guy, but that's just fact from what I see with my limited knowledge.
So I'm gonna go same thing with me, but I guess to answer the question, he minimum and to be safe, because like you said, my knowledge of basketball, football is more so than boxing. Minimum to be safe, top 10 boxer ever. He's easily our generation's. He's the best fighter in our generation after Floyd. To watch what he did, his accolades, like he said, three-time undisputed champ, dog. Like that's insane. And then to put on the clinic against his last 2 opponents, and I know there's one thing that Dan be super tight about, even a post he made the other day about certain people not fighting other people. Like for him to have, moved up in weight and fought somebody of Canelo's stature, resume, and ability, and put on, and what I watched the clinic through 12 rounds and really just go out there and outbox him. And then prior, what was that? He fought Spence last year, I believe that was last year.
2 years, I think there.
Okay. All right. So go out there and fight Spence and put on a masterclass against him, and then give him the belt too. Sorry, Dan, but yeah, minimum 10. And if I, a couple of names like really get into it, it could be, it could be more based on his accolades and what he's shown out there in the ring. But yeah, Bud like that.
Okay, so I agree with both of you guys are saying. So John, I'm even go a little bit further than what you're saying, John. So this is the way I look at it. One, whether you're a boxing fan or not. So for me, I am a boxing fan. Obviously, my first love is football. My second love is boxing. My third love is basketball. So me being a boxing fan, if you don't have him bare minimum, like you said, top 10, then you're just flat out a hater. That's number one. Number two, if you consider yourself a boxing savant, there's no way he's outside of your top 5. So after the performance he put on for me last night, I would not be mad if anybody have him as their GOAT. I would not be mad if anybody have him in their top 3. For me, I'm going to be safe, and I'm going to just put him top 5 because I don't want to make people upset, because I know the boxing game really goes deep. But in my personal opinion, his accolades alone, like Ian pointed out, he got 3-time undisputed. Not only is he 3-time undisputed, he's a 5-time unified champ, and he's a 4-time unified champ. And he's a 5-time weight division champ. Like you said, him starting out his career at 135, being undisputed at 135, being a unified champ at 140, being undisputed at 147, being a champion at 154, and then going all the way up to 168, beating the best guy at 168 at his own fight, like Ian pointed out, and being undisputed at 168. His accolades alone make him the GOAT. Like nobody else has accomplished what he was able to accomplish in the sport of boxing. Now, the only thing that has me at pause to make him the GOAT is to be considered the GOAT with boxing is not only about what you accomplished, it's also about who you accomplished it against. And so his resume alone, his resume is very top heavy. What I mean by top heavy is his resume doesn't have as many household names as others who accomplished a lot in the sport. Like obviously you got the 2 big guys, you got Canelo, you got Errol Spence. Then you also look at his resume, other noticeable household names. You got Amir Khan, you got Sean Porter. Outside of those four guys, you don't really have any other household names. Not saying he didn't have any other tough fights, because he definitely did with Victor Postal, Jeff Horn, Kell Brooks, etc., etc. But those are not household name guys. So in order to be the GOAT, like you gotta have the accolades to go along with the I beat such and such, such and such, such and such, such, and run it down. Like Floyd can say, okay, I wasn't 3-time undisputed, but I was 2-time undisputed. I wasn't a 5-weight champion, but I was 4-weight champion. You don't have as many names on your resume as I have on my resume. My resume, in terms of big names, my resume is not top heavy. I got so many champions on my resume compared to yours, but I will say this in Terrence Crawford's defense, that's not his fault. For a long time, he was avoided by the top guys. A lot of the top guys did not want to fight him. He fought everybody they put in front of him. So with that being said, he got to be bare minimum top 5. I will not be mad if he's top 30. I will not be mad if people have him as the GOAT. And to also go off of what John was saying, Floyd, we saw Floyd fight obviously live, but that was the end of Floyd. We didn't see Pretty Boy Floyd, or we did, but not really, honestly, when he started out in the mid 90s. So our generation top guys was Terrence Crawford and Canelo. So Terrence Crawford is the best fighter of our generation. Like with boxing, when you passing the torch, obviously you go back to you have Roy Jones. He passed the torch to Floyd. Floyd just passed the torch to Crawford with that win last night. Crawford is the fighter of this generation. And now once Crawford hang it up, we'll see over the next 10, 15 years who turns out to be the fighter of the next generation.
So can I ask you a question to like further the boxing conversation?
Mm-hmm.
After the fight, Canelo said that
Yep.
he
Better
first
than Floyd.
he said that he think that Crawford was much better than Floyd, and like you gotta look at when they fought each other. But outside of that, he also said that like he took a risk by taking this fight, and I know that there was a lot of boxing fans from jump that felt like this fight was a money grab and it was BS from jump, and that Canelo was taking a safe fight by not because of Bud's experience or because of his skill, but because of us not believing that he would be able to carry up his power 2 weight classes and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So, before this fight, what was your opinion on Canelo taking the fight, and what is your opinion now that he has went through the fight and lost it? But
So honestly, my opinion on Canelo hasn't changed before or after the fight. So before the fight, my opinion on Canelo was that him and Bud are the two top guys of our generation. And even though I don't like Canelo personally, my reason for not liking Canelo personally is I feel like at times, or in recent years, I'll say in recent years, he has been picking and choosing who he wants to fight. Granted, you have earned that right, but it gets to a point in time where there is a top guy and there is a number 2 guy undefinitively, how it was with Crawford and Spence. And at the end of the day, what did they do? They lined it up. If Spence didn't want to, he did not ever have to fight Crawford if he did not want to, because he was the guy. He had all the power. He had all the control. Just how Canelo has all the power, all the control, and that David Benavidez situation. Why not give that man the opportunity? You're Mexican. He's Mexican. Line it up with him. So that was really my only issue with Canelo. But the only risk that he did take in this fight is it is a known fact that Canelo struggles with boxers. Hence Dimitri Bivol, hence Floyd Mayweather, hence Triple G. He struggles with guys that are elite boxers. That's what Terrence Crawford is. But the big asterisk on it was the size advantage. And so if we're thinking it, what do you think Canelo is thinking? I'm gonna knock this guy the fuck out.
right.
Yes, he's more, but at the end of the day, I'm the bigger man. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna show him I'm the bigger man, and that's what he tried to do. Starting out in round 1, I'm gonna just say this and then we're gonna move on. Starting out in round 1, he come out all Canelo shots. Go back and look at round 1. All Canelo shots was body shots. They was landing flush, all to the ribs, all to the midsections. That's what you want to do as the bigger guy. You want to go out there and you want to punish the smaller guy. You want to break down the body. A lot of guys think you want to go out there and you want to head hunt. That's not what you want to do. That's how you get knocked the fuck out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate any and all support. Thank you.
So yeah, moving on to the first topic of the day. After the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, I need you guys to give me an early prediction or a way too early hot take.
Commanders in for a long season, my boy. That's my way prediction. I think that Austin Eckler going down after they just traded Brian Robinson Jr. is going to put a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on the rookie running back. I think that the stress they puts on a rookie running back then turns and puts on JD. Debo can be infiltrated into, the running attack, but I don't really like outside of screens. I don't think that Debo is the same threat as a receiver as he used to be. Terry can play, but I think that there's still room for growth in that offense, and I think that the defense are taking strides, but they still can't stop nobody. So I think that if JD don't go out and throw for 3,830 touchdowns, then they in for a long season, and I don't see it happening. So,
gotcha.
I think my joint is we'll be seeing, and I know after, and I think it's more so hot for me because y'all know how I feel about the quarterback. I think we'll be seeing the Packers in the NFC chip. And honestly, I think that because
after you was popping it last week.
I know. I was exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was popping it last week, but I know the match we have to wait until the season moves on to really see what's going on. We only do 2 games. But I think their defense is not going to change. Like, I think their defense is going to continue to improve, and what we've seen on the field so far is exceptional. Like week 1, the Lions just put up 50 on the Bears, and they have an average defense. And then just 2 weeks ago or last week, the Lions put up 6 points. They couldn't move. They couldn't move the ball after the game. He was questioning what's their identity, but they didn't even look at the same kind of team when they just had to go out there and play Packers. And then this past week, they beat the Commanders, but that game was kind of, I think it was 18-27, but that game was over before the 4th because I think they scored a touchdown late in that game. So it really wasn't as close and competitive as the score may have seen. And then on the opposite end, as far as offense is concerned, you got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. He always going to do his thing. They have serviceable wide receivers across the field. My main question mark, I already know, has always been a quarterback because he got paid off for 8 games after Thanksgiving 2 years ago, and I'm still on it. But what he's shown on the field, he looks like he has the poise and continue to do his job and make the correct reads and keep them either ahead or winning games and let their defense do their thing off of them. So, yeah.
Got you. So before I go, I just want to say one thing. I'm actually not mad that you said that. I was actually thinking about it, but I just couldn't get on the Jordan Love train. I need to see more games.
No kidding.
Like,
I know.
The defense is convincing, but
yeah, but I'm tired of seeing this string of games, then this string of games, then no. Put it together for me. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad that you said that. But so for me, I think this year the division that's going to be hot and that's going to make some noise this year is the AFC South. And that might shock a lot of people going into the year. Yeah, the face you make it, the AFC South with the Jags
and the Texans and the Titans.
Yes. Even though right now the Colts sitting at 2-0, I won't talk too much about the Colts because we're gonna jump into them not too far from now. But so the Jags, they sitting at 1-1. Yes, they did lose the game today against the Bengals, even with the backup quarterback coming in. But in my opinion, a lot of people been asleep on Jake Brown, and he proved 2 years ago when Joe Burrow went down for the whole season that he's the best backup quarterback in the league. So I think he can start on a few teams. So with him being in that backup, to me, that's like the 25th quarterback in the league. So I don't really view him as a backup, honestly. So he go out there. He did throw 3 interceptions. Their defense did not look bad at all. It's just they didn't hang on to the whole game. They just stopped playing football. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. If they held on to the intensity they had through the first 3 quarters, there was no reason they should have lost that game today. Now, granted, they did play the Panthers in week 1, but they did look good. The game got delayed. Once they came back from the delay, that delay didn't seem to affect the game. And so I do think that they'll be able to compete with a lot of teams in the AFC. And I think if they're able to get into the playoff, they could possibly win a game or at least put up a fight in the first round. I don't think they're going to be a pushover. Obviously, I think the Texans, this is their year to show people that they're one of the top teams in the AFC. Obviously, they started out 0-1, losing to Matthew Stafford in week 1, but there's no shame in losing to Matthew Stafford. They play tomorrow night. They got the Bucs at home. I do think they'll be able to get the dub, and then we'll see how they continue to move along. Colts right now, they sitting at 2-0. They look like they're playing teams close. Their defense don't look too bad, even though teams are scoring on them. Their defense are creating turnovers and is getting pressure. So can't be too mad about it. I think it's going to be competitive. I think all 3 teams is going to be fighting to win a division. And if Joe Burrow is not able to come back, and we're also going to talk about the Steelers a little bit later. If the Steelers or the Patriots not able to hold up their end of the bargain like people think they will this year, I won't be shocked if we see 2 AFC South teams in the playoffs.
Jake Brown, the best backup quarterback in the league?
Yes.
That's what stuck you out of everything you said.
Solid.
Oh, yeah. Moving on to the last question of the day. I need you guys' verdict on the Colts and the Steelers, 2 AFC teams.
So the Steelers. I'll go. My verdict is they're. I was never high on the Steelers. Like, I don't know if people had them going to the playoffs or they had them making noise, but you bring in Aaron Rodgers in the past couple years, your first round playoff exit when you make the playoffs. But my route is their defense. Like, their defense should be concerned in Pittsburgh about their defense. Like, last week, although they won, they gave up 32 points to Justin Fields, and Justin Fields sucks. I'm sorry, I don't care about his week 1 or what he did last week, but he is not good. Like, he's shown over and over and over and over and over and over again why he's not a starting caliber NFL quarterback. And you give 32 points to him, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson. And then this week you lose. And although I think that the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks are a good NFL team, and Sam Darnold can be a good quarterback. You give up 31. They lost 31-17. So you give up 30 points again, and this time you lose to Sam Darnold, JSN, Kenneth Walker, and Zach Charbonnet. So out on them and the Colts. You said the NFC South is going to be competitive. I wasn't going as far as say that, but the way they're looking now, I do think that they should win the NFC South, and they're giving up points like you said earlier. But based off the rest of their division, like I was kind of high on Cam Ward, but it looks like the Titans are going to continue to be cool. I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence guy. And then the Texans, we'll see what comes of them. But as far as the football that Colts are playing, if Daniel Jones can continue to stay within the confines of how he's being coached in their team and leading the way is Jonathan Taylor and him getting the ball to the playmakers on their team, they should be able to continue to win games. The defense will keep them in games, and they should be able to continue to win games, possibly win 19 games in the division. That's probably going to be to win the NFC South 10 games. So.
All right, so first of all, real quick, AFC South.
AFC South.
The Steelers are cooked. They spend too much money on their defense, and they can't stop nobody. So they can't stop nobody. I think that if you had the steel curtain of years before, this A-Rod might be able to win you a playoff game. But y'all can't stop nobody. And this is not discount double check A-Rod. This is retirement tour A-Rod. So they're cooked. A-Rod and Mike Tomlin probably out of here after this year. If they give Mike Tomlin another run for his money, then shout out to him. But the Steelers are cooked. The Colts, I can definitely see them competing for AFC South title. Would I go as far as to say, yeah, they probably win a division? That's crazy to me. I think that the Jaguars, I don't know what their schedule looks like, but I think they got some favorable games in their calendar to where they have a chance to go play football. I think that it's room for their chemistry to go on the offensive end, and I think that them just letting go of Tank Bigsby would be good for Travis Etienne, and maybe he'll be able to not turn back the clock, but like negate what happened last year. So I think that his productivity moving forward. I think that contrary to what John said, I think that the Titans, even though they 0-2 right now, I think they have looked semi-impressive in the first 2 weeks. Cam Ward is building chemistry with his receivers. The rookie young boy, I forget how to say his name, but they building Yeah, they building a nice little connection. Tony Pollard hasn't had a good game yet, so if he able to, establish some kind of run game, but defensively, they were in the game the whole time last week with the Broncos, and we know the Broncos are a stout defensive team. And then this week, it was like a significant turnover. They was in the game, and Cam Ward got like rushed and he fumbled the ball. But before that, they were moving the ball, and the defense wasn't. Matt Stafford had to work for his points. So even though they're 0-2 right now, I think that the Titans are in a place where they can compete. I don't think that they are the laughing stock that they were last year with Will Levis, the mayonnaise man behind center.
It is, man. It's crazy.
Yo, that was
Daniel Jones right now, contrary to what it was in New York, I think that the way that he plays football is beneficial to the Colts and what they need in the quarterback right now. I think that Daniel Jones is very willing, like Dan said at the beginning of the year, that he's gonna throw to the other team or to Tyler Warren. I think that in addition to the tight end being an easy look for a quarterback, I think that Daniel Jones is very willing to throw the check down, and that's going to be good because throwing the check down puts the ball in your best offensive weapon's hands. So put the ball in Jonathan Taylor's hand as long as he's able to remain healthy. I think he did 160 on the ground today, in addition to like 50 yards in the air. He can spread the ball from there. But if JT is dominating, then it opens up the field for what Daniel Jones can do. And so I'm I think that they'll be in contention for competing with the AFC South title. But I think that's really up to what Houston is able to do in terms of protecting CJ. I think if they give him a clean pocket to drop back into and pass, then it's their division to lose because their defense is coming into what I feel like it will be a year for them to show that they are elite and have elite talent. But week one, he was still running for his life. And if they make this an Andrew Luck situation or a Russell Wilson situation where like every time you drop back, you running for your life or you got to worry about getting sacked, then he was never going to be able to thrive. And it don't matter who he throwing the football to. But if they block for him and they give him opportunity to scan and read his options, then I think this would be CJ's year to make his step forward into entering those top quarterback conversations. So,
Gotcha. And so first, I'm gonna start out with the Colts. I do want to bring up Daniel Jones. I don't want to apologize to him because it's only 2 games in, but I do want to say he's playing much better than I thought.
He's on apology watch.
yeah, we'll say that. Apology watch. He's playing much better than I thought he would going into this football season, and so I do want to point that out. He's played great football. Starting with week 1, I think they scored on their first 9 drives. Week 1, they haven't done that since I think they said Peyton Manning in 2006. So that's a marvelous stat to point out with the many years that Peyton was there. Also, Andrew Luck was there. You also had Phillip Rivers there. You also had Matt Ryan there. So you had a bunch of guys with some talent that wasn't able to do that for all those years. So he had a good week 1. He come out week 2. He was able to put points up on the board against a great Denver Broncos defense. I do want to point out that Pat Surtain did go down, but he did play majority of the game. So it wasn't like Daniel Jones wasn't out there going against him in that great Broncos defense because he was. And he was able to walk away with the W. They are 2-0. And so like you guys said, I do think I'm going to agree more with John. Like, I don't think it's the Texans' division to lose. I think with the fact that the Colts are 2-0, and even though I do think the Texans should win tomorrow night against the Bucs is not a cakewalk. And so I do think right now it's the Colts' division to lose, all depending on how well Daniel Jones played moving forward. Because like John said, I do think their defense is good enough to keep them in games. You got Jonathan Taylor, like you've been saying, Ian, one of the top 5 running back at bare minimum in the league. You can feed him. You got Tyler Warren, who is looking like the next great rookie tight end prospect. Because, last year was Brock Bowers. Year before that, it was Trey McBride. Year before that, I can't remember who it was. But every year it's a top tight end prospect. This year is Tyler Warren. So he does have the weapons. He still has some top wide receivers. You got Michael Pittman over there. You got Joshua Downs over there. So you do got some serviceable wide receivers. So I do think it's the Colts' division to lose right now. I think they're going to be competitive with the Texans, with teams like the Jags, and then with everybody else in the AFC. I think we won't know until they play their first divisional game to see who's going to be atop that division. Moving on to the Steelers. So I kind of feel differently than both of you guys, and I'm actually surprised because I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan. but I like what I seen from that offense in week 1. And then coming to week 2, okay, the Seattle defense is good. So I do want to preference that with what I'm saying. They was going up against a great defense. They was at home. And at the same time, it was the special teams play. Yes, the Seahawks put up 31 points, but it was on the kickoff that the kick returner didn't field the ball. It ended up not landing in the end zone. They gave up 7 points. So boom, right there, I think they went down 14. So then that's when they went down and scored the 7 points. But so you put yourselves behind the 8 ball. You making Aaron Rodgers force throws that he wasn't doing all game and that he didn't do last week. So I don't want to say I'm out on Pittsburgh, like John did point out. People laugh at Sam Darnold, but I do think he's a serviceable starting quarterback, and he can win you a few games. Is he going to go out there and win you a playoff game or a big game? No. But can he win a regular week 2, week 3 football game? Yes, he can. With a defense and some weapons. So I'm not too concerned with them losing this week. The only thing I am concerned about is that defense. Giving up 30 points consecutively, even though it was on the special teams play, it wasn't the special teams play last week when you gave up 30 plus to Justin Fields, who did not look great at all today against a Buffalo defense who did not look great. Granted, it was against Lamar Jackson, but still. Justin Fields did not look good. You had interceptions, you had strip fumbles, et cetera, et cetera. But last week, he looked like prime Lamar against y'all. So they defense got to get it together, but I'm more confident in their offense, shockingly, than their defense thus far in the year.
So then do you think – oh, sorry, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I do think we got to wait on the announcement of Joe Burrow. It is reports, obviously, he got the turf toe. He's in a cast right now. He's going to get another X-ray in the morning to determine if he needs surgery. If he needs surgery, he's going to be out for 3 months. If he don't need surgery, then he's going to be week to week, day to day. So if he doesn't need surgery and he's week to week, day to day, with them being 2-0, then I definitely like their chances to make the playoffs. Now, even though I do think Jake Browning is the best backup quarterback, no, I'm not expecting him to take Cincinnati to the playoffs, even though Cincinnati is 2-0. So if Joe Burrow does need to have surgery and he missed 3 months, that's him not coming back till the end of the season. There might not be no point to come back if they're not in playoff contention, but I don't think they will be. And so I do think that Pittsburgh will be able to get that spot, sneak into the playoff, and possibly upset somebody in the first round, depending on if that defense is able to turn it around and if Aaron Rodgers shows up.
So going to the offensive performance, because last week it looked great. I'm not gonna lie. Aaron Rodgers was 300 yards, 4 tutties. They put up 34. They put up 34 points. And they won it on a walk-off field goal against the Jets. Comparing between the Jets, because I think the Jets have great personnel. The Jets have great personnel, and then we've seen them be a good defense year over year with their corners, and also they have on the defensive line, etc. Comparing that to the Seahawks defense as well, you think that the Seahawks defense is better than the Jets, or you kind of have them on the same level?
So the Jets kind of remind me of the Chargers defense of a few years ago. You got all the names, but they're not quite playing together. Seattle does have some names, but I think they play better together as a unit. So as of right now, I would have Seattle defense better than the Jets.
Fair enough.
Like, even with the playoff scenario that you was just talking about, where if Joe Burrow has to go get surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the AFC West where Mahomes play. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at that like Mahomes might be fighting for a 2 or 3 spot. Like, and you can get into the playoffs at the 3 spot now with that 7th spot. But if that's the best division in football, if that's the division where the Broncos go win 10 games, the Chargers win 10, 11, 12 games, and then the Chiefs are trying to sneak in with anywhere between 9 to 11 games, then the Steelers got to go play better than Mahomes. Like, okay, cool. Like, you can surpass whatever the Bengals are doing in that division, but you got to play better than whoever win your division, because it ain't going to be whoever win. You got to play better than the Bills, who's going to win their division, and then whatever that last AFC division, the AFC South. So the Colts,
got you.
That's 3 games. Like, y'all could get that last spot, or y'all could get bumped out.
Yeah, so it'll definitely be a fight for them with the last spot. That's why I said if Joe Burrow has to have surgery, I think that open up the last spot for them because they wouldn't just be competing with Mahomes because they added the extra playoff game. So yeah, they'll be competing with Mahomes, but then if Mahomes has the better record than them, they will still then be competing with that second team out of the AFC South, if it is a second team out of the AFC South, because I think they'll have a better record than the Patriots. I'm sorry. The Patriots might be the second best team in that AFC East division, but they're not going to the playoffs, in my opinion, even though they look good against them today. So I definitely think they'll have the advantage over the second team out the AFC East, and I think they'll have the advantage over then the other divisions, you'll have the 2 teams out, the 3 teams out, and then they'll be fighting to possibly that last team. Yeah, if we don't have anything else, we can wrap it up there. It was a wonderful football Sunday. I enjoyed I ain't gonna say that because I know my man E was a little upset. Who fucked you up? The Broncos? Yeah.
Yes, bro. We enjoyed everything today except for the Broncos game and the Sunday night game because that shit was poop.
It was poop. I don't even know. I was asleep. That Sunday night game definitely put me to sleep.
Whole time, that's why I asked. I'm like, yo, y'all ready to do the show right now? Yo, we can do the show right now when the game on.
was tough sleep. But yeah, it's a good football Sunday. It was a good show tonight. We definitely gonna catch y'all next week. We out there.
All right,